All right, you guys, I promised some of my friends that I would make more videos of some of the stuff that I like to make, and I'm really into making my own almond milk now, and I talked about it earlier. Super easy, very quick, and affordable versus trying to buy it at the store, and it's natural, right? So what you start with is raw almonds, not salted, not roasted, just raw almonds. And what you're going to do is you are going to get a cup of raw almonds. It doesn't have to be exact, but as close as possible. Okay? A cup of raw almonds. You're going to put that in a bowl, which is what I have here. You're going to dump that in there. You're going to add 3 cups, you're going to cover it with hot water. Let it sit there for about an hour. And then what you end up with is these almonds, because you want to take the peeling off of it. They have this little brown wrap on it. You don't want that in your milk. So by soaking it, it's going to allow you to just simply, let's see if I can show, oops, shoot. Well, there goes that one. You just simply pinch it, and it comes right out of the shell and leaves you with the nut. And then that nut goes right in my Vitamix. And then I just have a little separate bowl for the papers. So that's what I do. Do this real quick. And you guys don't buy, I bought some almonds at, what do you call that? Aldi, I think it is. Pre-packaged almonds. And it took me I just gave up. I couldn't even peel them after soaking them at least half a dozen times. It just wouldn't work. So I'm telling you, just get the bulk at either Sprouts or Stater Brothers, the store where you do it by the pound, and get those, because then, life is much easier for you, and you're going to get your almond milk ready in much less time, and your fingers won't be hurting from doing this. So that's my little helpful hint to you. So once we get all of these almonds out of their wrapper, we're going to cover these almonds in 3 cups of water. So it's 1 cup of almonds to 3 cups of water. And I just use regular, bottled water, not heated up or anything, just straight out of the bottle. And you're going to blend it in the Vitamix. You guys, I know it's expensive. I get it. And it was a big decision for me about 8 years ago for me to get one. But it's so worth the money. And, you might spend close to $400 for it. But like I said, I've had mine, I don't know, close to 10 years now, I think. And I love it. I use it all the time. So I would say get one. The bullet doesn't work on stuff like this. Not like you want. So I would say make the investment. All right. Should have music playing in the background. Okay, so I did do my competition in Las Vegas on Saturday, and it wasn't as much fun because we couldn't socialize really because of the COVID junk. We all had to wear masks. When we were around each other, we had to keep our 6-foot social distancing. And once we were done with our class, we had to leave the building. They did the show, we did our individuals, we did our comparisons, and then the judges awarded the winners right there, and then we had to leave. So we couldn't even watch the rest of the show. So I was kind of bummed about that, but I did get first. And the president was the announcer, and he was very gracious and said some really nice things about me, to me, on the show. And that made my day. Probably more than the trophy that they got, just to hear that. So here are the compliments that I got from somebody like him. So because I got first, they said, qualified for a national competition. I don't know if I'm going to do it though. It took so long just for me to get this one out of the way because of all this COVID stuff going on. But we'll see. I don't know. Right now, I just want to relax on my diet a little bit. And today I went back to the gym, of course. I took 1 day off. That was yesterday. And We'll see. I ended up at stage weight was, before I got in there, it was hard to tell. It was between 128 and 130, depending on the scale. And I was about 6.8% body fat. And so I'm pretty, I've never been that low before. And I've gained muscle, so it was really nice. Thanks to my training buddy Sean, he helped me not only work out, but with my diet and encouraging me. So it's kind of nice when you have somebody to help push you along. Actually, he didn't have to push me, but just keep me company. All right, I'm almost done. So I wanted to cut it just so that you guys didn't have to sit here and watch me do this, but it's probably good that you see how quick it is to do, right? Now when I turn this thing on, it's going to be so noisy. I'll figure out what to do when I edit it, I guess. Hopefully I can edit the noise out. All right, I got a little bit of brown wrap on that one. Okay, all right, so I have nothing but water left. I get rid of that. And here's all my little papers. You know what I did is I took and, I'll get it. I put salt on them and I put them in my air fryer, and they're like these little crunchy treats. I'm weird, I know, but I hate to waste anything. It really wasn't bad, and I figured, hey, it's extra fiber for me. All right, so now, let me put those back in. That'll be very much. So what we're gonna do now is, like I mentioned, this 1 cup of peeled raw almonds, and we are gonna put 3 cups of water. I do put a dash of salt in it. All right, so now we're gonna see, it's nice and milky white. Is that crazy or what? All right, and then, I know, I'm off camera. What I do is I get this little bowl. I make my own nut bags. You can buy your own, but what I did is I just took a 100% cotton pillowcase, and I just cut it into smaller pieces, and I stitched it up so that I have this little pouch, and I put it inside this little dish. I dump in my almond milk, I don't squeeze it yet. I let it just sort of do its thing for a little while. And as you can see it, when I've had almond milk at the store, I don't know, it usually tastes sweet, or they have vanilla, or, you know, just something in it, and I don't really like it. But when I saw this recipe and I tried it, because I eat almonds anyway, I thought, man, I really like it. I have it on my cereal. I make, in my coffee in the morning, I've got a frother, so I'll put this milk in the frother with a little bit of stevia and sometimes a little vanilla or cinnamon, and I make my own foam froth for my coffee with it. And anytime I have a recipe that calls for milk or nut milk, I use this. And this gives me about a quart of milk. One thing about it though, because it is fresh and we're not putting any preservatives in it, is you probably should drink it within, I don't know, 4 or 5 days for the freshness. So right now I'm just sort of, all that's left inside of here is the pulp and some milk. So I'm just sort of twisting it and squeezing so I can make sure to get all the milk out. And then when I'm done, I'll show you how I take the pulp, I put it on a piece of foil, I put it in my oven at 170 degrees, and it sits in there, because that's really low, it'll sit in there for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 hours. And I break it apart, and it'll completely dry out into these hard little nuggets, and I throw it in my Vitamix, and I pulverize it, and it turns into flour, so then I have my own almond flour. So I really haven't put anything, I haven't wasted anything, especially if I'm eating the little wrappers there as a snack. And drinking the milk and using the pulp and turning it into my almond flour. And it's not almond meal, there's a difference. I've seen almond meal in the stores, but this is almond flour that I make. Okay. All right, so that's it. Let me get a container. My little funnel. Okay, as you can see, it's nice and white and creamy. Oh shoot. Okay, there's a quart jar of almond milk. Okay. Now what I do with the pulp, just so I'll do that real quick. Get a piece of foil. Okay, get that out there. Okay. I take my little nut bag here. And then, so these little chunks that I have right here, I just sort of break them up into smaller pieces, that way they dry quicker. Older, I'd like to think wiser. I'm really focused on being as healthy as possible. I want to live life to the fullest. I want to enjoy my time here that God gives me. And there's so many additives, hormones, preservatives, you name it, in the prepared food. It's horrible for us, you guys. And it really is not difficult or hard to stop relying on the convenience foods and actually just take the time to make whole food yourself. You know, eat it, whether it's raw. It's just homemade is so much better for you, right? And you can flavor it the way you want. You get to control the flavor and you get to control the ingredients. So that's it. And I'll get a, probably out of that, I'm trying to think, it's probably 3/4 of a cup of flour, half to 3/4 cup of flour. So when I make my pancakes in the morning, I only use like 3 tablespoons of it, so it lasts a little while. And then I just keep adding to it every time that I make new almond milk. I just make new flour and I add to it. So yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna pop it in the oven at 170 for a few hours. And what I'll do is I'll cut back in and I'll show the process of blending it in the Vitamix, because this will actually, it makes it flour. You can take any grain you want and make flour. It is well worth the investment. So anyways, that's it for now. And next I'm gonna clean up and we're gonna do some of the cashew nacho cheese that I've put on before. And it's awesome. Oops, flour. Thanks guys.